Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tuesday edition of Video Clip Switches, brought to you by Wellness Forum Health, the Wellness Forum Institute, and Make Americans Free Again. A couple of quick announcements. First of all, the Diet and Lifestyle Intervention course starts tomorrow. It's the first step in the Certified Health Educator program that we offer. It can be taken by itself. You're not committing to anything more than that, but it's a great 15-module program that covers men's health, women's health, children's health, autoimmune disease, cancer, heart disease, diabetes, Alzheimer's disease, vaccinations, and musculoskeletal issues, et cetera, et cetera. It's a great overview course that covers a lot of ground. Lay people are welcome to take it too, and many people have over the years. Over 1,000 people have taken this course since we started offering it in 2009. So if you're interested in learning more about it, send me an email. I'll send you the course catalog. If you want to take it, there's still time to enroll. And then the second thing, I mentioned this last week, but we're a month away from our Healthy, Happy You boot camp. And just think about this. It goes for 6 weeks, every week, yoga, strength training, cooking classes, and a health lecture. So if you're a member for $195, you will get 6 cooking classes, 6 health lectures, 6 strength training workouts, and 6 yoga classes. That's a lot. And of course, we're filming it so that you can watch the videos anytime. And I told several people in different time zones, listen, it doesn't matter if you participate live or if you watch the video later, just discipline yourself to do it during the boot camp so that you really get your habits in good shape at the end of the 6 weeks, which is the goal. Non-members, it's a little bit more expensive, but you can join and still get a little discount on it if you choose. And if you want more information about that, again, my email address is pampopper@wellnessforum.com. Happy to send you more details. All right, so I have two big news items to talk about today. And the first one is our Food Over Medicine clubs are discussing healthy aging this month. And I think the goal for all of us should be to live long and die short and live at home independently until we die. And the key to achieving this is healthy diet, lifestyle habits. Nothing shocking there. According to a recent study, for those who are at the age where decline can begin, adopting the right habits can prevent it, and even you can pick up ground cognitively and physically. Two interventions, one structured, the other self-guided, focused on physical activity, cognitive activity, healthy diet, social engagement, and monitoring cardiovascular health. The study included over 2,100 participants. Their average age was 62. 89% of them completed a 2-year assessment. Subjects in both of the groups showed improvement, with those in the structured intervention group performing at the level of adults 1 to 2 years younger. In other words, they were reversing the aging process. Think what could happen over longer than 2 years, right? Improvement in the structured intervention group was consistent even for people with the dreadful ApoE4 carriers or alleles, which are reported to have a greater risk of dementia. So for people who were at highest risk based on their genetic predisposition, they experienced improvement as well. So your genes are not your destiny. They are just risk factors that can be modified by choices that you make. So it's not inevitable that most people will decline mentally and physically as they age, nor is it inevitable that sooner or later you have to end up in a nursing home. You don't have to. You don't have to at all. You just have to start doing a lot of the right things right away. In other studies, researchers have determined that paying attention to 14 risk factors could reduce the incidence of dementia by 45%. And dementia is an important reason why people end up in nursing homes. These include education, hearing loss, depression, physical activity, smoking, hypertension, obesity, type 2 diabetes, alcohol consumption, social isolation, vision loss, and high LDL cholesterol levels. These are, for the most part, controllable risk factors. About 7% of dementia can be attributed just to high LDL cholesterol levels, which is consistent with my advice for the past few decades, which is that what's good for the cardiovascular system is good for the brain. And when you think about it, how could it not be this way? Your blood vessels deliver oxygen and nutrients, including glucose, to the brain, and veins carry away waste products from the brain. So low-fat, plant-based eating is the best way to keep your cardiovascular system in great shape, which will then help to keep your brain in great shape too. And notice that social isolation is third on the list, which is perhaps another reason to focus on forming or joining a Make Americans Free Again tribe. I think people need local, in-person connection. And I put out a video many years ago about the difference in brain waves when people are talking to each other on the phone or through a computer Zoom session versus in the same room. I mean, it's great that we can connect with people all over the world, but there's just a different thing with people in the same room. So, and the other thing I wanted to mention is in this particular study where researchers were identifying the main risk factors, they said that the anti-amyloid drugs were useless. In other words, the drugs the FDA has approved to treat early stage or even mid-stage dementia, absolutely useless, which I've reported on that before too. So, if you want to be healthy and productive and live a great life until you one night decide to depart from the planet, the time to start doing something about it is now. Get your body in great shape. That will help your brain to be in great shape so that you're cognitively sharp and physically strong. And these are the keys to staying in your own home until you die. And I think there's one lesson we all learned during the COVID debacle, which is being locked in a nursing home by governors of states, given 3 meals a day and deprived of human contact. The fact that the state can do that is a good reason, among many others, to stay out of these types of care homes. All right, the second topic has to do with the insistence that America's epidemic of disease is caused by ultra-processed foods. Now, to be clear and to start, a diet made up of mostly processed foods, ultra-processed or not, doesn't lead to good health. But the insistence that we change the ingredients in processed foods and we're going to help to solve our epidemic of disease is incredibly misguided. And so I'm referring specifically to all the hype about we're going to get the seed oils out of things and we're going to get red dye out of M&Ms because God knows M&Ms would be just swell if they didn't have the red dye in them. I mean, come on, people, right? Well, I rarely defend the Dietary Guidelines Advisory Committee and its decisions. And in fact, I testified in front of this committee on numerous occasions over the years about my general disagreement with the committee's findings. However, the committee correctly refused to blame ultra-processed foods for our epidemic of chronic disease in its 2024 report. The MAHA crowd became apoplectic and the press was highly critical. And it's all based on people not understanding much about health and also not reading. This is a pet peeve of mine, people reporting what studies say and they don't read them. All right, so part of the response to all this is the false yet often repeated statement that sugary cereals, candy, and pasta are the cause of type 2 diabetes. They're not. If you look at how diabetes starts, it begins with insulin resistance, which is caused by fat accumulation in the cells. We refer to it as intramyocellular fat. The source of most of this fat is animal foods and dairy products like cheese and fried foods and oils. In addition to this misunderstanding, misreporting of studies plays a role too. A 2023 analysis, for example, showed that frequent consumption of ultra-processed foods was associated with a 46% increase in the risk of developing type 2 diabetes. But if you actually read this study, the ultra-processed foods that led to this increased risk were animal-based products and ready-to-heat and eat dishes, 44% and 22% increased risk, respectively. The same analysis showed a 22% reduced risk from consuming ultra-processed cereals. Packaged sweet snacks and fruit-based products were also associated with a 13% and 18% respectively reduced risk. The researchers noted, quote, a favorable relationship of plant-rich diets compared with animal-rich diets with type 2 diabetes. Now, again, I want to be clear. I'm not saying that ultra-processed cereals are good. What I'm saying is that the study that's being used to support the idea that all this fuss about red dye and seed oils is going to fix our problem is not being reported on accurately. So I mentioned a pet peeve of mine is people who don't read, and they don't read this stuff before they start talking about it. The same phenomenon was found in the European Prospective Investigation into Cancer and Nutrition, or EPIC study. Animal-based products were associated with increased risk of type 2 diabetes, and plant-based alternatives were associated with lower risk. For the record, again, I want to state I am not here to defend or promote ultra-processed foods. I'm here to tell you that the people at MAHA seem to lack ability to research these issues and to report data accurately. It's not surprising, by the way. It's actually just a continuation of decades of government and medical ignorance where diet and health are concerned, or where all issues about health are concerned. What you hear me reporting on week after week after week in the newsletter and in the videos is how inaccurate what people are being told by doctors and dietitians and nurses and government agencies is on a daily basis. It's not new. It just gets bigger and bigger and more people involved in it. We've been helping our members to accurately read and interpret scientific information for almost 30 years. For those we've trained, MAHA is irrelevant, the USDA is irrelevant, the dietary guidelines are irrelevant, and most of what they hear from health professionals is irrelevant. If you're still being taken in by the nonsense I've just described, perhaps it's time to join Wellness Forum so that you can consider these sources irrelevant as well. And then you can get special prices on things like our upcoming Happy Healthy You boot camp, which 6 weeks of great programming, 6 classes of cooking classes, 6 strength training sessions, 6 lectures, and 6 yoga classes. That's an incredible bargain, and it can be yours if you join. All right, so last couple of things. August workshop for members is Autism Basics, and September, Glow from the Inside Out by Heidi Plum will be conducting that workshop. And then Dr. Mila, our vision expert, will be talking about improving your vision naturally in November. So lots of great member workshops coming up. By the way, for these workshops, you can't purchase them. You just have to be a member to take them. So again, I'll reemphasize, it might be time to watch that video, which is at WellnessForumHealth.com. There's a little video you can click on to watch membership benefits, and then you can call us to join. All right. Well, that's it for today. As usual, pass this on to anybody who you think would enjoy learning from me, and I will be back to you on Thursday with more news. Thank you so much for watching.